Okay, so the Midianites in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, member of a group. They were nomadic. They were a nomadic tribes related to the Israelites. Okay, and mostly likely living east of the Gulf of Arabia. Aqaba, in the northwestern regions of the Arabian Desert. So again, who did Jethro worship? This is after the Exodus. Even when he visited the Hebrews and camped it at the mountain of the Most High, because even Moses had to come to him. You know, Moses came to him, and even at one point for advice, and then another time, Jethro and his daughter came to Moses. And this was officiated at the sacrifice of the Most High that was attended by Aaron and the elders of the Israelites. Aaron was a Levi. He was a priest. So in order for a priest to deal with another priest, because Jethro was also a priest. Okay? So I'm just trying to give you a little connection here. All the priests were of color. So what's important here? The word Hebrew. We talked about how many times it occurred, 40 times in the Old Testament. The meaning, it means one who passed over. Wow. It means one who passed over. So it was first used by the Canaanites, locals, to describe Abraham. And you can find that in Genesis 14. So as I said, we're going to do some Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the African military might. Jeremiah 48:9. So in Africa as a place of refuge or deliverance in the book of Jeremiah, that's what this is all about. The place of refuge. The African military might, that's in Isaiah 46:9. So it's not hiding any of this. It's plain. You open up your scripture and go to Jeremiah 46:9, and you will see the same thing that I see. Also, it depends on what version of the Bible that you're using. On this, I'm using a King James version, just so you will know. The African military might, it describes that in Jeremiah 46:9. Again, we're talking about melanated people, people of color. And not only that, but we're talking about military. Now, the military is very well, this is a big thing, and it's very, very organized. So this is not just any group. This is the military. So Africa and Africans became the hope of Israel. And that's Jeremiah 26:20-21. They're the hope of Israel. And also Africa and Africans as an instrument and object of judgment. So they were very intelligent. They were very knowledgeable. And Jeremiah portrayed Africans as having a high sense of moral judgment and courage. Read about yourself in Jeremiah 38:7-10. And also in Jeremiah 13:23, it explains how Africa as valuation for Israel. It's awesome to know these things because it's beautiful. It's also uplifting, deliverance. A lot of things come from truth and from knowledge. The image of Africans in the book of Jeremiah. So now we're going to go portray a little bit of the image. They are portrayed as instruments of salvation. Did you hear me? They are portrayed as instruments of salvation. The words that are mostly used for salvation in the Old Testament but these are Hebrew words, I will get into that later. But the word salvation and its derivatives are used about 353 times in the Old Testament. Okay, and the word itself occurs about 143 times. So sometimes we read things and we don't really know what they mean, we kind of go past them, and they really have no knowledgeable value to us because we don't comprehend or understand what it means or what it's saying or how it applies to us. Okay. So when we look at these, it basically, these words in Hebrew just basically mean to save. These people were, this is how they looked at these people. These was people to save, to free, to help, and to make spacious. So when we look at the females, there are a lot of females in the Bible itself that are of color. And the one that we're going to talk a little bit about today is the Queen of Sheba. The first use in the Bible of the word queen refers to a Black woman, and that is 1 Kings 10:1. Please write that down so you can have it for yourself. Her name is alleged to be Makeda, but the scriptures refer to her as Queen of Sheba. Now, in Hebrew, Makeda is the name that she is the name, but when you translate we come up with Sheba. Okay, so the Queen of Sheba, or the Queen of the South. She was also called the Queen of the South as well. Her fame was such that 2,000 years after her death, according to the Blacks in the Bible, blacksinthebible.net, you can look that up. It's blacksinthebible.net. Yahshua Christ mentioned her long trip and referred to her challenge of Solomon's wisdom, which led to a love affair with the wise Jewish king. Okay, this is good. This is really good. So we understand too that the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia, or was in Ethiopia, and the Queen of Sheba is from Ethiopia. She's the Queen of Ethiopia. She also went back pregnant with a son. Some said she had two, but according to my study and things that I studied and from school, it's one. But I'm not saying it couldn't have been two, but from our study, it was one son, and who also ruled after her. Okay. So if you do your research about the Queen of Sheba, you'll find out that she took back the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia. And to this day, no one can stand against Ethiopia, and they still have the Ark there today. And also the lost book of Enoch, just to add to that. So Zipporah was also another woman of color in the Bible. Moses, who wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, okay, the Septuagint, whom he married an Ethiopian woman, and her name is Zipporah. I think that is a beautiful name, Zipporah. And she was persecuted for it because, well, because we can get deeper into that, but it goes all the way back to the son and also Moses himself being circumcised. If you read that, you'll understand that she actually did a circumcision. So he and his family almost lost their lives because she was African and because of her Ethiopic religious roots. Okay. So that's why I wanted to show about the Most High's names in the beginning. So we can also, as we learn this, we can decipher and kind of separate, should I say, the wheat from the tare. Okay. So as we were saying, the Most High himself brought judgment time. And again, because of this specific woman, Zipporah. And also, you can also look that up again in blacksinthebible.org. And also Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman that he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And that's Numbers 12:1. And why? Because a lot of Ethiopian women was not worshiping the same Most High that we were worshiping. Okay, they worship multiple gods. Some of them, not all of them, but that's what they were known for. So what's important here? Studying the Black presence in the Bible can open up the door to discussions about racial justice, dispel dispel the myth that the Bible is the white man's book. That's not true. And whoever's ever said that was just wrong when they said that. But we are clearing the air that that's not true. And it is this myth right here that has kept many people of color from the gospel.